Here's an unfortunate fact. The guys with the biggest calves are the ones that don't even work them out. All right, what does that mean? Genetics play a big role in your muscular development. Here's something else. Who cares? Doesn't matter. You can't control it. Go to the gym anyway. Train your body. Stop comparing yourself to people with different genetics or circumstances. I feel like this lesson eventually is learned if you stick to working out long enough. Eventually you get to this growth place where you're like, who cares? You know? But in the beginning, it's mostly like,
it's tough.
Why don't I look like that guy? Why is that person stronger? What's going on
when
here?
there's a deficit, you know, or there's a visible, especially one of those things people are like, oh man, I really want my calves to grow. It becomes an obsession. And then it's like, well, you know, somebody that just doesn't even really lift weights has like amazing calves. That's a hard pill.
It's funny though, because people will say that, but then they in the same breath, they're not prioritizing it like it's the most important
There's still
thing.
a lot that they could do.
Yeah, like I mean, as annoying as it was I mean, obviously when I had to get on stage, like that was obviously a thought to mine. Like, okay, if I'm going to get up here and present my physique, I got to make sure I bring my calves up. I'm in shorts. Like that's going to look really weird if I'm like so disproportionate where I'm massive up top and I have these skinny calves. And so it became a huge priority. Now, for the first time in my life, like I actually treated it as if it was any other muscle group that like I had to develop and I had to bring up, which means I prioritized it in the workouts. It started the week out. It was the first exercise I always did. I increased the volume. I increased the frequency and stuck with it consistently, where in the past, I would say, oh man, training calf sucks, or oh, my calves suck. But then it was like, they were also treated as like the redheaded stepchild. I never freaking addressed them. Yeah. Or if I were to miss something, it would be those. Or I never really started, like how many people start their workout with calves?
Yeah, nobody does. It's always an afterthought.
It is.
Yeah, it's our tendency is to want to make excuses because otherwise it's a mirror. Otherwise you have to look in the mirror and be like, all right, what am I not doing? Because it's very easy to look at other people and say genetics, steroids, they don't have the same job. They have all the time in the world.
Comparison trap.
The comparison trap. It's terrible. And what it does is actually disempowers you, right? So there's a false belief that if you accept responsibility, now it's going to suck. Well, it kind of sucks because it puts the ball in your court, but it's more empowering because there's a lot you can do. And it doesn't matter what the other people around you look like and what they can do. There's always someone stronger, always someone better, bigger, better circumstances, I guess.
Nobody's like perfectly balanced in every muscle or in every like strength pursuit. It's like, I don't know. I guess that's just sort of the thing for me. It's like I try not to get into the whole like, well, this isn't working. I mean, I do like figure out where I'm weak and I'm like, okay, I got to get better at this and do whatever I can. But once you start comparing your progress to somebody else, that's such like a losing pursuit.
Yeah.
It's just oh man.
Why do you guys think though that we've put so much emphasis on the calves and that like? I look at calves like your forearms, like they're the extension of the arm or extension of the leg. It's their
why that muscle?
Yeah, like have you ever heard anyone be like, oh, look why would your forearms? Look how weak your forearms are, and they can actually be just as underdeveloped in comparison to your biceps. But no one ever says that. So what is it about?
I think legs in general tend to be skipped by guys. So in general, legs, and of the legs, if they do work them out, then the calves tend to be skipped because it's not like a beach muscle. Yeah, it's not
it probably
showy
comes
muscle.
from that.
You know what?
Because the guys that just get their upper body workouts in and no legs.
It is a beach muscle though. If you're in shorts, your calves are being showed off just as much as your forearms are. So isn't it weird? Like what in our culture decided that? Because very
it's like
easily,
the bicep of legs, you know. It's like
very easly with that logic, it could have been the forearms. You know, why did we decide as a culture like that would be the thing that we would target? And I would make the case that they're as underdeveloped or like focused on as the forearms. Like there's plenty of people that have small forearms, especially some guys that have massive biceps and triceps.
All right, well, I guess we could get deeper because
let's start shaming forearm small people.
Stop it. No, we can. Okay, we can get a little deeper. Here's the interesting thing about calves from a performance standpoint. Okay, this is where it gets weird. Big or small calves, like some of the highest performing athletes in the world, have high, short calves, long Achilles, and they don't have like look at some of the best athletes.
Yeah.
Look at their
A lot of
lower
the basketball
legs.
players right now. Yeah.
Yeah,
those skinny legs.
and so so I don't think it's necessarily evolutionarily speaking connected to your ability to hunt or defend yourself, like broad shoulders, strong hands, strong forearms, wide back, where that tells you a lot, right? Somebody who's got really underdeveloped back, you're probably not very physical. You probably don't have very good performance. Whereas calves, what they find with calves is like big, long, meaty calves tend to, you tend to see that on like strength athletes, probably because it gives you a strong, solid base. And then like running and jumping, there tends to be it tends to move towards higher,
short insertion.
shorter type calves.
Yeah.
But from an aesthetic standpoint, right? But yeah, you never hear. Look, let's talk about young men. When do you hear females talk about another guy's body and be like, "Oh my God, you see his calves"? Like you never hear that, right? It's always abs, arms, chest, something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's probably why.
And I feel like forearms are better connected to like real world strength.
Yes.
And like
Yes.
so you'll never meet a really, really strong guy
With underdeveloped
forearms.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna normally have a
It's
really
like impossible.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny that I don't know that isn't talked about as much.
Yeah.
I think it's silly to, again, the original point, compared to other people, we're all unique and different, and so it is what it is. But I've always thought it was interesting that nobody put any emphasis on the forearm the same way that you put on the calf. And
the bigger conversation is the whole comparing yourself to other people. Like genetics are interesting. I remember there was this dude who came to work out at one of the gyms that I worked at, and he looked like a 165-pound dude. I mean, he looked, kind of fit, but I would have never looked at him and be like, "You lift." He kind of looked like a fit guy. He was wearing a rash guard, so it's like a long sleeve rash guard, and he gets under the bench, and I'm just in the gym. I'm working with clients, doing my walkthrough. And I walked through once, and he's warming up with 225, and it was moving pretty fast. It's like, wow, he's pretty strong for his size. Well, I come back through, 3 plates are on the bar, and he's benching that. Then I didn't see for a while, and then I go back through. He's got 5 plates on the bench. Now I'm looking at him because I'm like, for sure he's gonna hurt himself. He's doing partials or something stupid. I've seen people do this before. I'm gonna have to jump in and grab the bar and help him. And this dude put up 5 plates. He was doing
Full
singles
range?
with it, full range, all the way down, pause all the way up. And it blew. And so of course I introduced myself. I'm like, dude, I've never seen this doesn't make. I said, no offense. I said
The physics just don't make sense.
I literally said this to him. I said, no offense, but you don't look like you can lift this much weight. And I said, what do you do? And he's like, I compete.
He's like, thanks.
Yeah, I'm a power lifter, and bench is one of my strongest. So it's like genetics are interesting with how some people have like just the right leverage and CNS activation and who knows what.
Yeah.
So crazy. It's just so wild to see something like that. It made absolutely no sense. And then of course we've had employees like that, right? Where they go, they barely work out and they just surpass us in development, even
Then
though
we fire them immediately.
But I mean, what are you going to do? Like at the end of the day, you have control over yourself, and who cares?
I mean, I honestly think, what's funny is that I feel the same way, which I know bothers people when I talk about this too, with the whole like feeling, coming from a place of not having a lot of privilege when it comes to like,
oh God, this same thing. Exactly.
like I feel that was an advantage to me because it forced me to build good habits and behaviors and work hard and be resilient.
Totally.
And so the character that's developed from that person, I think has served me in life 10 times better than had I had like a silver spoon in my ass. You go the other direction with your development on your body. Part of what I think made me so into exercise and nutrition, because it was difficult, because I didn't have the genetics, because I was terrible, because I was weak, I was skinny, I was all these things that I was insecure about. And so it forced me to like really go deep and figure all this out. Had I been the kid who like already looked like everyone had that kid in high school that already looked like he lifted weights before he even lifted weights, and then he touched weights and then he just doubled his size. Like I had a friend like that and was strong as shit. Like I don't know, I probably wouldn't have landed in this field. I probably wouldn't have cared to go that deep and to learn that much and to work so hard at it so I don't know. It's funny how
we always we all share that, like, and again, from an athletic perspective, I was always chasing speed, and I was so pissed off that like everybody was faster than me, like off the shoot. And so I had to like learn how to like get better at being predictive, watching film, like breaking everything down, like training every chance I could in the gym, like every last bit. I trained with a track team for like 2 years and like barely got like, point 0.1, off my 40 time. And it was fucking frustrating, and it really irritated me that these genetic gifts, like some of my friends like that got, full ride to UCLA and then blew it. And it's just like I just want to slap them. Like I've been busting my ass.
Yeah, okay. Of course, your genetic propensity for things like intelligence, your opportunities that you're presented with that you're not responsible for, maybe the people your parents know, the schools, that all plays a role. But if there was one, and it's a combination of factors that we would have to use to predict someone's potential success and failure. So that's the complete picture, would be to look at everything. But if you had to pick one that would be the greatest predictor of success in any area, it's mindset. Mm-hmm. There's no other greater predictor than somebody's mindset. You just said it, Adam. I mean, people who know your past, knew how you grew up, and what it did to you is you had a mindset around it where it became an advantage. If you had a different mindset, you would have ended up like every other person who grew up in your situation, not very well. It's the mindset that makes the difference, always. End of story. This is why they talk about the immigrant advantage. When you look at immigrants and you look at their children, so people who come to this country and then they have kids, when you compare them to the same race natives, people who have been here for generations, so same color, same everything, right? Controlled everything. Immigrants, the children of immigrants outperform them. They call the immigrant advantage. It's the mindset, because their parents came here obviously because this was a better opportunity. And so it's like they have a different mindset. They see the opportunity, they see what's going on, and they're less likely to be like, oh my God, I can't control anything. I'm a victim in everything that I do or whatever. This you have to learn with fitness. You absolutely have to learn this, because I can very easily, I can come up with a million reasons why I can't get fit, healthy, stronger, leaner. I can come up with them. It's very easy to come up with a million reasons why. Or I can be like, fine, I don't care. What can I focus on? What can I do? What do I have control over? Focus on that. That right there will dictate your success with fitness more than anything else. Yeah. By far. Yeah.